Good evening, and I welcome you, students. What we are studying, student, improvement in food resources. The first question was, students, why do we need to improve our food resources? What is your answer for these students? Why do we need to improve our food resources? What is the problem?
Sir, because of large population of India.
So you are saying our population is more than 1 billion people and is growing. We still growing. And the food for this growing population will need more than a quarter of billions of tons of grains every year. And already you are using large land to intensively cultivate it. So in order to get more efficient production, so how to increase the yields of crops and livestock? That is a question for us. That what we need, as we said last time, student, what is our need, student? That what you need is to increase the yield of crops. And second, what you have, students, livestock. This is one of the two things which we need. So how will we increase the yield of crops and increase the livestock? That is our point. And for this, we are saying the practices involved in farming, we can see that we can divide into 3 stages. We are mainly economy is agrarian, agriculture based. Now, of course, so much of industrialization has taken place and industries and machines have taken over. But you already know that agriculture is very, very essential and important. So agriculture, livestock, poultry, fisheries, and beekeeping, all this is a part of where we want to, improve. So the first choice, when we talk of farming, student, we can see we can divide in 3 stages. The first is a choice of seeds for planting. How do you do farming? How the farming is done? Farmers, what they do? First, they have seeds, student. And the seeds, we have to, first is the choice of seeds. Seeds have to be plantation of the seeds. What you require is the plantation of the seeds. And after the seeds are planted, what you do? You have to nurturing of crop plants. Nurture. In a day, you think if you put a seed, you are getting a plant? Answer is no. So you have to nurture them. What do you mean by nurture? Provide nutrients, water, whatever, sunlight, everything you provide them, students. So nurture the seeds, then plants will start. Nurturing of the crop plants. Nurture the crop plants. And then what next we do? Protection of the growing and harvested crop. Protection is also very important. Why do you need to protect? Why do you need to protection of the harvested crops? What do you mean by protection? Why do you need protection, students? What will happen? There are weeds, there are pests, there are some diseases which the crops can get and they can be destroyed. So you have to do the protection also. So here we have classified the major group activities for improving the crop yield. So what we are trying to improve, students? We want to improve the crop yields. Improve the crop yields. How? First, we are saying crop variety improvement. So how to improve the variety of the crops? We will see that. Crop production improvement. There should be improvement in the crop production. And third, we are saying protection management. As you see, protection is very important. Or the plants will die. Or there are organisms which can, pesticides or other which can kill the plants, and some diseases also you have seen in the plants. So these 3 things are important: crop variety improvement, crop production improvement, and crop protection management. Their farmers have to be taught all these techniques. Earlier, what was doing, they were doing in their own way, but by adopting these practices, educating them, then they will have a better yield and will be able to improve the crop yields in large amounts, Okay, that sounds good. Let us see what else we can do now. The first thing we are saying, crop variety improvement. What first question you will ask student? First question is, what is crop variety improvement? What is crop variety improvement, students? The variety of the crop I'm saying, that means there are different varieties of the crops. There are some better, some more better, best. So what we want to do, this approach depends on finding a crop variety that give a good yield. You will search for a crop variety. Which one? Crop variety which will produce good yield. Good yield, students. Varieties or strains of crops can be selected by breeding for various useful characteristics. Now there are certain characteristics which must be taken into account, students. For example, disease resistance. If the variety is going to be diseased, then it will be destroyed. So it should be disease resistant. Some of the important characteristics we are saying. Characteristics which we are saying, the crop variety which will good yield means that this crop variety should be disease resistant. Disease resistant. Anything which falls sick, student, then that is not healthy and waste of time, then it will die. Then how it will respond to fertilizers, because nowadays what you are using a lot of fertilizers, student. Are you using fertilizers?
Yes, sir.
So a lot of fertilizers are being added to improve the quality and high yields. So how they respond to fertilizers and product quality and high yields? The variety should have a product quality is important, students, and the variety should be able to give high yields. One way of incorporating desirable character into crop variety is by hybridization. You have heard about hybridization, students? What do you mean by hybridization? Hybrid, you mix and produce different genetically plants. What is we are talking? Hybridization refers to crossing between genetically dissimilar plants. The crossing may be intervarietal between different varieties, intervarietal means different varieties between two different species of the same genus, or intergeneric between different genera. Another way of improving crop is by introducing a gene that would provide the desired characteristic. This results in genetically modified crops. So scientifically, we are doing a lot of work on this, and a lot of research and experiments are being done that if you can improve crop by introducing a gene. There is a gene, student. Gene is a part of the DNA, which we know in our body also, that would provide desired characteristics. You want to have desired characteristics like disease resistance, high product quality, high yield. So you can do hybridization or genetically modified crops. Nowadays we are talking of genetically modified crops. Genetically modified crops are being produced. All these are the methods which we are using. Okay, let us see. How will we do that? The first question before us, what is hybridization? Question number 2, what is hybridization, student? It is a technique of plant breeding in which two plants having desired characters. You have two plants. ठीक है? having desired characters are made to cross and develop seeds. So they are plant A and plant B, student. What do? You hybridize the two and made to cross. You cross, cross breeding and develop the seeds. So by cross breeding, you are developing the seeds. For example, pollen grains of one plant selected as male. One plant A, I am saying, is A. Then I am taking the pollen grains of plant A selected as male are collected for pollination. They are collected for pollination. And the stigma of another plant. Stigma of another plant, student B. This is plant A, this is another plant B. This is selected as female, is dusted with pollen grains of main plant. After pollination, the fusion of desired male and female gamete result in hybrid embryo. So these two will be fused or hybridized. Hybridized or fused, student. Okay? And this will result in hybrid embryo. Hybrid embryo, which will have the characteristics of both the plants, having characters of plant A and plant B. So the seed of the plant are collected and grown in the field. So then the seeds will be there. You can grow these seeds. So this is the hybridized seeds. The hybridized seeds are produced by means of, you have seen, you have selected two plants A and B. One is supplying the male pollen grain from the male and stigma, another plant is the female. So they are hybridized and you produce a new seed which have characters of both plant A and plant B, and then that can be grown in the fields. What do you call this as? Hybridization. तो मिक्सिंग कर रहे हैं, एक प्लांट दूसरे प्लांट से हाइब्रिड कर रहे हैं, ठीक है? Okay. The type of hybridizations. What type of hybridizations are done? There are different types of hybridization, students. One is called types of hybridization. First, we are saying intra-varietal hybridization. It is between two plants of the same variety. Intra-varietal, same, intra means same variety plants. There are two plants which have the same variety. So intra means you already know intra. So this is same variety. So you have two plants of the same variety. You will hybridize them. Number two, inter-varietal hybridization. Two plants belonging to different varieties. Here, two plants are belonging to the same variety. Two plants belong to the same variety. Inter means, when I use the word inter means, there are two plants which belong to the different varieties. Different variety. But there are same species. And interspecific hybridization. It is between different species of the same genus. Interspecific. There are different species. But genus is the same. And intergeneric, it is different, they have different genera. So we can do the hybridization. Four types of hybridization we have told you. 1, 2, 3, 4. All this is done. All these experiments have been done. They are doing. Those who are working in this, they are already doing it. What is the purpose? Improvement in crop yields. Improvement in crop yields. What are the various factors for which variety improvement is done? Next question. Question answer. Question number 3 is coming on the screen. What are the factors, student, for which variety improvement is done? What are the factors? First factor, we already told you, high yield. Main concern is that you want higher yield of the crops. Main concern of plant breeder is achieved by developing and selecting more efficient genotype. Why will the crops produce higher yield and certain crops produce lower yield, students? So one which has a more efficient genotype will produce higher yield. So this is important, that we should have more efficient genotype. So this will be able to give more yields. Number 2, what we are talking, students? Improved quality. Quality is another objective of a plant breeding. For example, you buy a fruit from the market and the taste is very bad, students. What is that? Then you won't be able to eat it. Sometimes you, for example, you take an orange, it is so sour, and you will find that, oh, you can't eat it. It is not a good quality. It is not a good quality. So quality is important of our plant breeding. For example, what do you want? Sweet, juicy, and seedless oranges. If I consider oranges, student, if you are eating oranges, what type of oranges you will love to eat, student? You want sweet, you want a lot of juice in it, and you want seedless. So this is the quality of the oranges. Different oranges have different qualities. Sometimes you see in the market, the same fruit has different costs, students. Low cost, high cost. Why? Because the quality is different. Quality is different. Over large number of sour and pitchy ones, if you have, these are low quality oranges. So quality improvement is required in grain size, protein, quality in pulses, cooking quality in rice, malting quality of barley. For example, certain qualities we have indicated. Pulses, how much proteins are there? Rice you are making, some rice, can you cook them or they become very hard, or some rice soft? Size of the grains. These are the second thing, improved quality. What is the third important? Biotic and abiotic resistance, student. What do you mean by the factors, student? What improvement you are making? What do you mean by biotic and abiotic resistances? Biotic resistance will mean what? Biotic means what? Living. Bio means living. Under natural condition, crop plants are prone to certain biotic diseases. Biotic diseases, what are biotic diseases? Biotic diseases, but biotic diseases are likely to be there because of bacteria, fungi. These are living organisms, they are bio. What they do? There are bacteria, fungi, insects. what they do, you know already. They will damage the crops or plants. What will happen? They will damage biotic factors. And what are the abiotic factors? This is very important point, student. Abiotic resistances. What are the abiotic resistances? आपने पढ़ा सूखा पड़ गया तो सब फसल मर गया. Abiotic. There are droughts. Recently, I have seen at many places. There is a water shortage, droughts, and what is happening? Then what will there be? Crops, plants, they will die. Our land becomes saline. The soil is very important. If it is a sand, what will happen in the sand, student? Do you have the topsoil which is required for the growth of the plant? Answer is no. Certain areas are very hot, lot of heat is there, temperature. So these stresses which cause great loss of production, they will cause loss of production, students. What they will cause? Loss of production, right?
Yes, sir.
Loss of production. So plant breeders, therefore, develop. What you are trying to do, student? You are a plant breeder. You are working on it. You are doing research on this. So what will you try to do? What type of variety you want to create? You want to create a variety. What type of variety, student? Which has which should develop resistant varieties, resistant to both biotic and abiotic factors. Is it clear? Very important question. So the crops or the plants should not die if it is excessive heat, or what happens? There are droughts, saline, and these problems are there. The abiotic factors are there if there are strong winds, or there are places with a lot of, I mean, you have seen a lot of snowfalls or a lot of ice is falling. What will happen? Then there are certain organisms you have seen, bacteria and fungi, insects, they can damage the crops. All these factors you have seen. You have seen in news, in recent, I saw in the news, in a country where there was attack of the certain insects. कौन से थे वो मुझे याद आया. हमारे भी एक बार एटमॉस्फेयर में बहुत सारे आ गए थे. वो क्या होते हैं वो छोटे छोटे?
Yes, sir.
क्या नाम था उनका? वर्ड इंसेक्ट्स थे वो सारे जो फ्लाई भी करते थे. वो फ्लाइंग छोटे छोटे. Oh, so they were eating all the crops.
सर इन हिंदी उन्हें टिड्डे कहते थे.
हैं?
टिड्डे.
हाँ, टिड्डों का अटैक जो है, इंग्लिश में टिड्डे को क्या बोलते हैं. तो वो अभी एक कंट्री में मैंने देखा था, बहुत ज्यादा हुआ था. फिर उन्हें बाई प्लेन्स दे स्प्रेड स्टूडेंट्स, लॉट ऑफ स्प्रे वाज डन, वेरी डिफिकल्ट, एंड द होल क्रॉप दे वर ईटिंग. बहुत ज्यादा लार्ज नंबर में दे स्टार्टेड टुवर्ड्स दैट साइड. And sometimes we see them sudden appearance in the sky in large numbers, where there is some crops now. Then once they are there, it is difficult to remove them because the number is very large. Herd of those, so then they will attack, and these all insects, anything. Therefore, it is very clear to us now. We started understanding that what is the problem, what type of varieties. Main purpose is to have varieties which can produce higher yields, and quality also is important. If I am producing any mango or something which doesn't have good quality, we won't be able to eat it. Pulses don't have the proteins. What is the use of that? And I produce a rice which is difficult to cook. Again, problem. And you have seen how, I mean, the plants can fall sick, or they can have diseases due to biotic and abiotic factor. That's a very important. A lot of crops are damaged because of that, you know. Next, what is happening? Changes in maturity duration. What do you mean by changes in maturity duration? By reducing the time duration from sowing to harvest. What do you mean by maturity duration, student? This is an important point. Third, fourth, I'm talking. Fourth, what is that? What do you mean by maturity duration, student? I am growing a crop. What is the time it will take to ready for harvesting? If a crop is grown, it will take a lot of time for harvesting. What is the use then? Can I wait for such a long period of time? So duration, we have to reduce the time duration, very important, from sowing to harvesting. You are sowing the seeds and the final state, what you say, harvesting. So
Yes,
time
sir.
period is important. What is the time period? So we want to reduce it or increase it? Reduce it. It takes long time, then again problem is there. The production can be increased many times if we reduce the time. Duration of time. Farmers can grow many rounds of crops in a year in the same field by reducing the duration of the crop. So duration of the crop is very important. We have to reduce the time for the duration of the crops. In 1 year, you can then grow many rounds. You can grow many rounds. You can grow many rounds of crops in a year. In a year, you can grow many rounds of crops. ठीक है? समझ में आया? So uniform maturity of crop makes the process of harvesting easy and reduces loss due, because otherwise there will be loss in the harvest. The more time it will take, there will be more loss. Everywhere it will happen. So this is the fourth. You have to reduce the duration of crops. Fifth point, we are saying wider adaptability. What do you mean by wider adaptability? What do you mean by adaptability, students? What is adaptability? Tell me. What is adaptability? Can you tell me what is adaptability?
Sir, it means to adapt to the conditions.
You know, climate conditions, you have seen temperature becomes more rains, more moisture, droughts. So you should have that variety which could adopt. And if, for example, if I have to myself go extreme conditions of, heat or very low temperatures, can I adopt or not? If I can't adopt, then what will happen? Then I won't survive. So the organisms cannot survive. So ability to withstand extremes of moisture, drought, temperature by cultivated is another desirable trait by the breeders. Sometimes, your plants have less water. Sometimes you are putting 1 bucket of water over water you have given them. Can they survive?
No, sir.
If there are floods or anything, all this is going to happen. So adaptability, wider the adaptability, better it is, less will be the loss. If adaptability is low, what will happen? There will be losses. So developing such varieties which can be grown under different environmental conditions. You want to develop varieties, important. You are doing research on this project, now you have knowledge, very important knowledge, students, that you should have varieties which can be grown under different environmental conditions. Under different environmental conditions. This helps farmers to grow one variety under different climate in different areas. Because there are different varieties, so they can grow one variety under different climatic conditions. They already know which crop, which variety grows under which conditions, so they can use that. grow one variety under different climatic conditions. Very important information, because we are giving you a lot of important information from different sources. So make sure that these videos will be very, very important for you. There is a plenty of important information, because you have to understand. And then further, students who are going for science, even if you not going for science, knowledge is required nowadays. The more knowledge you get, the better you are, because you know everything. Even if you have to do some agriculture, if you want to grow certain crops, if you have a farmhouse, then you should have a knowledge of that, what are the problems and what type of varieties when you will go to buy, what type of characteristics you need, what type of varieties are best, which can give you high yield, and will take shorter maturity duration and wider adaptability. All factors, they can survive the different climatic conditions. These factors, you have seen how important, whether they should be disease free, they should have a resistance to all this. So very good. That means we understand now. See, wider adaptability. Developing varieties for wider adaptability will help in stabilizing the crop production. See, the crop production is our target. High crop production. And this should be stability in that. So important thing, adaptability, we have told you. Adaptability. This will help stabilize the crop प्रोडक्शन. व्हाट हैपेंस कि आप सोचते हो एक सीजन में बहुत सारी क्रॉप हो गई और दूसरे सीजन में क्रॉप हुई नहीं. ऐसा हुआ है. फार्मर, फार्मर्स आर फेसिंग सो मेनी चैलेंजेस. कभी वो कहते हैं सारा क्रॉप डैमेज हो गया, कुछ भी नहीं मिला. तो ये सारी प्रॉब्लम्स फेस करते हैं. एडॉप्टेबिलिटी नहीं होती. वेदर कंडीशंस कीप ऑन चेंजिंग. समटाइम्स द रेन्स आर नॉट दैट इफेक्टिव. लेस हुई बहुत ज्यादा, तो वो कह रहे क्रॉप खत्म हो गया. और किसी टाइम आपको पता है बेसीजन बारिश हो गई, तो ये फार्मर्स को पता है कि जिस टाइम बारिश नहीं होनी चाहिए उस समय there were a lot of rainfalls when it was not required. तो wider adaptability बहुत important है under different environmental conditions. One variety can then be grown under different climatic conditions in different areas. तो ये तो बहुत important हो गया. Desirable agronomic characteristics. What do you mean by agronomic characteristics? क्या होते हैं students? What do you mean by agronomic characteristics? What do you think? What do you think about this? सोचना है और कुछ नहीं करना. I'm not going to do mugging or anything. You just have to understand. सोचिए. Agronomic क्या मतलब हुआ? देखो, ये कह रहा है tallness and profuse branching are desirable characters for fodder crops जो होती हैं, fodder crops, उनके लिए tallness, more the tall better, and profuse branching. ब्रांचिंग क्या होती है आपको पता ही है. ब्रांचेस जो निकलती हैं, दे आर डिजायरेबल. ड्वार्फनेस इन सीरियल्स. दूसरा, सीरियल्स में क्या डिजायरेबल है? सीरियल्स में कह रहा है कि ड्वार्फनेस. ड्वार्फ, व्हाट इज ड्वार्फ? स्मॉल, छोटे वाले. तो व्हाट आर सीरियल्स? क्या पढ़ा था आपने? व्हाट आर सीरियल्स? कौन से थे सीरियल्स? सीरियल्स के बारे में क्या?
व्हीट, राइस, मेज.
तो उनके लिए आपको ड्वार्फनेस चाहिए. ठीक है. ड्वार्फनेस डिसाइड इन सीरियल सो दैट लेस न्यूट्रिएंट्स आर कंज्यूम्ड बाय दिस क्रॉप. तो ड्वार्फ होगा तो वो न्यूट्रिएंट्स ज्यादा लेगा या कम लेगा? लेस न्यूट्रिएंट्स लेगा. ठीक है. अरे एक बिगर है, एक स्मॉलर है, तो बिगर को तो ज्यादा न्यूट्रिएंट्स चाहिए.
यस.
ड्वार्फ को क्या चाहिए? लेस न्यूट्रिएंट्स. Thus, developing varieties of desired agronomic characters help give higher productivity. ये भी हमें समझ में आ गया भाई, पहले नहीं पता था क्रॉप्स के बारे में. क्रॉप्स के बारे में we are not knowing much about it. Did we know? No. हमने फार्मिंग थोड़ी की है, लेकिन हमें समझ आ रही है कि फार्मर्स को ये सारी नॉलेज होनी चाहिए. They should know all these things so that they can have better yields of the crops. and resistant to diseases. Abiotic and biotic resistances होनी चाहिए, adaptability होनी चाहिए ताकि वो सर्वाइव कर सकें, और एग्रोनॉमिक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स भी दे शुड नो कि भाई किसमें क्या करना। हमारे जो फार्मर्स हैं बाय एक्सपीरियंस दे नो ऑल दीस थिंग्स, समझे, बाय एक्सपीरियंस जो लोग करते हैं फार्मिंग दे नो, बट साइंटिफिकली उनको टीच करना बहुत जरूरी है, so that they understand more and then they can get better and higher yields of the crops. तो ये समझ में आया। अब ये क्वेश्चन कह रहा स्टूडेंट कि हाँ, अब क्वेश्चन आ गया, हाउ डू बायोटिक एबायोटिक फैक्टर्स अफेक्ट क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन? वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन। अब हमें अभी हमने डिड वी आंसर दिस क्वेश्चन बिफोर वी केम हियर?
यस सर।
तो बायोटिक फैक्टर कौन से थे? टेल मी, यू हैव 1 to 2 minutes. Biotic factors which can reduce student the crop yield.
Sir, the diseases caused by bacteria, fungi.
Diseases caused diseases to crops, whatever crops caused by कौन से होते हैं? माइक्रोब्स होते हैं। कौन कौन से हैं? क्या हो सकते हैं? फंगी का नाम सुना स्टूडेंट, बैक्टीरिया, और जो भी होते हैं ऐसे क्या होते हैं? वायरसेस भी हो सकते हैं। Then what will they do? They will reduce the crop production. क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन। तो ये तो मेरा रहा बायोटिक फैक्टर। और व्हाट डू यू थॉट अबाउट एबायोटिक फैक्टर के बारे में? व्हाट डू यू नो अबाउट दिस स्टूडेंट? एबायोटिक, एबायोटिक मतलब नॉन लिविंग कौन से फैक्टर है? ये लिविंग होते हैं। नॉन लिविंग कौन सा है? क्या
Drought,
लिखोगे?
salinity,
तो क्या हुआ?
waterlogging.
ये आपका फ्लड्स आ गए, अभी बहुत आए हैं फ्लड्स दिस ईयर, देखा होगा आपने। ड्रॉट्स भी बहुत जगह हुए, ड्रॉट्स हो गए, और वाटर लॉगिंग होती है, वाटर इकट्ठा हो जाता, बहुत जगह पानी जमा हो जाता। तो ये सारे जो भी फ्रॉस्ट वगैरह ऐसे मेथड्स होते हैं बायोटिक फैक्टर। और ये स्ट्रॉन्ग विंड्स चल गई तो क्या करेंगे? वो भी ले जाएंगी प्लांट्स को उड़ा के। आंधी तूफान आए नहीं कहीं जगह पर, क्या हुआ? क्या कहते हैं उन्हें? व्हाट डू यू कॉल देम एज? क्या आए थे अभी वो स्ट्रॉन्ग विंड्स वगैरह क्या बोलते हैं? कई कंट्रीज में स्ट्रॉन्ग आए हैं, वो भी सारा कहाँ फॉल हुए हैं, वो जो वेव्स उठी थी। तो ये फैक्टर्स जो होते हैं स्टूडेंट, व्हाट दे कैन डू, ये कर सकते हैं क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन को। तो दे रिड्यूस और डैमेज करते हैं किसको? क्रॉप्स को। दैट्स व्हाट वी आर सेइंग। कुछ और भी है? हो गया? कुछ रह गया?
No, sir.
चलो, वी आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग, बस समझना ही है। देखो क्या होता है कि एनी क्वेश्चंस कम्स वी कैन प्रिपेयर एन आंसर इन द पेपर इफ वी अंडरस्टैंड। और अगर हमने रट्टेबाजी की है फिर हम क्या आंसर बनाएंगे? आई एम ऑलवेज सेइंग स्टूडेंट्स, try to understand and don't mug anything. It is not worth, it will not produce any results. Question will be changed. ये थोड़ी है कि यही क्वेश्चन है तो वही आ गया, अब सारा चेंज हो जाता है हमारा। What are the desirable agronomic characteristics for crop improvement? अब क्या ये मैंने आंसर किया था क्या?
Yes, sir.
What you said? क्या क्या
Uh,
बताया था?
Sir, that tall plants require more nutrients than the dwarf plants.
अरे दो एक पॉइंट 16 बताया, लेकिन कौन सा बताया था मैंने? टॉल होने चाहिए, कौन से ड्वार्फ बताने चाहिए? व्हाट आंसर विल गिव यू? व्हिच क्रॉप्स वी सेड? यहाँ पे अभी हमने लिखा था डिजायरेबल, ये क्या लिखा हुआ है? फॉडर क्रॉप्स जो होती हैं, व्हाट इज रिक्वायर्ड इन देम? डिपेंड्स ऑन द टाइप ऑफ क्रॉप्स आल्सो। फॉडर क्रॉप्स जो होती हैं उनमें क्या चाहिए? व्हाट आर द डिजायर्ड एग्रोनॉमिक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स? एग्रोनॉमिक, ठीक है, डिजायरेबल कह रहा हूं, कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स बताइए क्या लिखवाएं? व्हाट शुड बी दैट?
Tallness,
टॉल, और क्या लिखा था?
profuse branching.
अच्छा, ये लिखना है पेपर में। यही था? अच्छा, दूसरा कौन सा बताया था? सीरियल्स का बताया था मैंने।
Yes, sir.
सीरियल्स में क्या कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स बताए हैं? सीरियल क्रॉप्स
Dwarfness,
डिजायरेबल एग्रोनॉमिक, लिखते चलिए, बिकॉज डिस्क्रिप्टिव, इन डिस्क्रिप्टिव पेपर वी हैव टू राइट, प्रैक्टिस करनी है, तो प्रैक्टिस हर चीज की होनी चाहिए। सीरियल क्रॉप्स डिजायरेबल एग्रोनॉमिक, जल्दी नहीं है, जल्दी नहीं है, धीरे धीरे कर लो। कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स क्या बताया हमने? दिस फूड क्रॉप्स शुड बी ड्वार्फ, तो ड्वार्फ होंगी तो क्या होंगे? दे विल कंज्यूम
less nutrients.
लेस न्यूट्रिएंट्स, और क्या होगा फिर? एंड बिकम मोर स्ट्रोंगर, उसका क्या रिजल्ट होगा स्टूडेंट? ये और भी स्ट्रोंग हो गए, तो दे विल बी एबल टू विदस्टैंड स्ट्रॉन्ग विंड्स। समझ में आ गया कि जो बहुत तेज विंड्स चलती हैं, बड़े पेड़ उखड़ते हैं छोटे उखड़ते हैं? बताओ।
The smaller one.
स्मॉलर वन कहाँ उखड़ते हैं? वो जो बड़ा पेड़ है वो सबसे पहले गिरता है। अरे जो बड़े बड़े होते हैं वो विंड उनको तोड़ देती है पहले, छोटे तो जमीन पे जमे रह जाते हैं। समझे?
Yes, sir. Yes.
एक्सपीरियंस एक्सपीरियंस करना है, मतलब आपको समझ आ गई स्टोरी। अगर हमने नहीं सोचा तो हम यही सोचेंगे कि छोटे वाले पहले मर जाएंगे, लेकिन वो विंड जब ब्लो करती है तो वो जमीन के साथ थोड़ी लगी हुई है, ऊपर से इतनी तेज चल रही है, तो ऊपर वाले जो बड़े बड़े लंबे चौड़े हैं सबसे पहले वही जाएंगे। कभी भी एक्सपीरियंस करोगे, वो जो स्ट्रॉन्ग विंड्स होती है तो टॉल ट्रीज जो होते हैं वो गिरे होते हैं। देखा है कभी न्यूज में टॉल ट्रीज ऐसे गिरे होते हैं सड़क पे? देखा है कि नहीं देखा? नहीं देखा
Yes,
तो
sir.
आप समझ लेना, देखा। ये ये सारा चीजें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। मैंने कहा कि जो 10th साइंस है, इट इज मेंट फॉर एवरीवन, it is meant for students as well as their parents, because here we are talking of this experience is in our everyday life, all applicable to our everyday life। तो ये सारी चीजें हम एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं और देखते हैं, रोज देखते हैं। ये भी समझ में आ गया? अच्छा, आंसर, हाउ टू राइट एन आंसर आल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट। Question is something else, students are writing some other answer, what is the story? Man, no marks will be given, therefore we should be sure what we are writing। तो अब आपने देखा स्टूडेंट्स, अभी तक हमने आपको बताया कि क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन जो है, क्रॉप वैरायटी की इंप्रूवमेंट कैसे कर सकते हैं, ठीक है, हाउ वी कैन इंप्रूव द क्रॉप वैरायटी। सेकंड पार्ट वो क्या कह रहा था कि क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन मैनेजमेंट होती है। तो व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन मैनेजमेंट? पहला क्वेश्चन यही आपको ये पूछा गया स्कूल में, क्वेश्चन नंबर 1 in this case, what is इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन एंड मैनेजमेंट। व्हाट डू यू थिंक, क्या मतलब हुआ क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन और उसकी मैनेजमेंट? इसका इंपॉर्टेंस पूछ रहा हूं कि व्हाई डू वी नीड टू मैनेज क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन मैनेजमेंट, व्हाट इज द रीजन, व्हाट इज द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन मैनेजमेंट की क्या इंपॉर्टेंस है? क्योंकि क्रॉप्स तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है हमारे लिए, क्रॉप्स आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। तो क्रॉप्स क्या है आपके पास? प्राइमरी सोर्स ऑफ फूड। व्हाट इज योर प्राइमरी सोर्स ऑफ फूड, टेल मी।
क्रॉप्स।
तो आपका प्राइमरी सोर्स जो है वो क्रॉप्स है। तो अगर इसको हम मैनेज नहीं करेंगे तो देन व्हाट विल वी गेट? नथिंग टू फीड द, और पॉपुलेशन बहुत ज्यादा है, एवर ग्रोइंग पॉपुलेशन है, पॉपुलेशन कभी कम नहीं हो रही, बढ़ रही है। तो लार्ज स्केल प्रोडक्शन कैसे होगी? अगर आपने लार्ज स्केल प्रोडक्शन कर भी ली तो उसको मैनेज भी तो करना पड़ेगा, ठीक है? तो इसकी प्रॉपर मैनेजमेंट, वी शुड हैव प्रॉपर मैनेजमेंट, प्रॉपर मैनेजमेंट, मैनेजमेंट एंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन भी होता है। You have seen sometimes at certain points in your everyday life कि किसी टाइम पर क्या हुआ कि टमाटर became very high in price और ऑनियन became very high in price। तो उन्होंने कहा कि ये प्रॉपर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन नहीं हो रहा, क्योंकि some people are holding it, ऐसा many times in the news you have seen it। गवर्नमेंट फिर एक्शन करती है, भाई इसको होल्ड मत करो, गोडाउन्स में डाल लिया, उनके प्राइसेस बहुत बढ़ गए, तो मैनेजमेंट नहीं हुई, किसी जगह पर प्राइसेस शॉर्टेज हो गई। तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन भी इंपॉर्टेंट है, डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ क्रॉप सब जगह होना चाहिए। इफ यू डोंट हैव अ डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, किसी जगह कोई चीज बहुत कॉस्टली है और वहां पे तो वो अफोर्ड ही नहीं कर सकते। इवन इन आवर कंट्री दिस प्रॉब्लम एग्जिस्ट, यू नो, इफ यू विल गो टू सर्टेन other states, so you will find that certain things which are cheaper here are very costly there, तो वहां पे मिल ही नहीं रही। ऐसा क्यों है? तो it shows the distribution and proper management is not there। तो ये मैनेजमेंट है कि आपने प्रोड्यूस कर लिया, फिर उसको प्रॉपर मैनेजमेंट करो, क्योंकि ये आप एवर ग्रोइंग पॉपुलेशन है और सब इसको रिक्वायर्ड, इसीलिए क्वेश्चन इंपॉर्टेंट है। तो मेन स्टेप्स फॉर क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन क्या है अभी तक? नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन आपसे पूछा गया पेपर में, क्वेश्चन आंसर। आवर क्वेश्चन इज स्टूडेंट, व्हाट आर द मेन स्टेप्स ऑफ क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन? तो क्या स्टेप्स हैं अब आपके पास? बहुत सारे हो सकते हैं, लेकिन कुछ तो हमें पता होने चाहिए जब कोई क्वेश्चन आता है। फ्यू, नॉट आई मीन नॉट आंसरिंग ऑल। अभी तक आपने क्या देखा था? सिलेक्शन ऑफ द क्रॉप, फर्स्ट द क्रॉप हैज टू बी सिलेक्टेड एज पर रिसोर्सेज व्हिच ए फार्मर हैव। हर एक फार्मर्स के पास हर टाइप की रिसोर्सेज नहीं है, तो वो क्या करता है? क्रॉप को सिलेक्ट करता। आपने देखा कुछ फार्मर्स क्या क्या लगा रहे हैं, अलग अलग चीजें देखी आपने, कोई एक ही फार्मर सारी चीजें तो नहीं लगा रहा, तो सिलेक्ट करता है क्रॉप को, क्या रिसोर्सेज है उसके पास। फिर प्रेपरेशन ऑफ लैंड, लैंड को प्रिपेयर करना पड़ता है, इज इट राइट?
यस।
क्यों करना पड़ता है? उसमें जो टॉप सॉइल होती है, तो आपको पता है। फिर वो क्या सिलेक्ट करते हैं? सीड को, अभी देखा आपने सीड्स। आफ्टर दैट क्या होता है? सोइंग ऑफ द सीड्स करते हैं। और उसके बाद क्या होता है? इरिगेशन। इरिगेशन क्या होता है स्टूडेंट? व्हाट इज इरिगेशन?
प्रोवाइड वाटर फॉर ग्रोथ ऑफ
हाँ, तो
प्लांट्स।
फिर उसका भी अरेंजमेंट करना पड़ेगा हमें। फिर ये कह रहा है फर्टिलाइजेशन होता है। व्हाट इज फर्टिलाइजेशन? अभी तुमने पढ़ा, क्या करते हैं? फर्टिलाइज करते हैं। फर्टिलाइज का मतलब क्या होता है? फर्टिलाइज करेंगे, सीड ही तो है, उसको फर्टिलाइज नहीं करेंगे तो फिर कैसे निकलेगा क्रॉप, ऊपर कैसे जाएगा? फिर हार्वेस्टिंग क्या होती है? व्हाट इज हार्वेस्टिंग स्टूडेंट्स? हार्वेस्ट सीजन सुना नहीं, क्या होता है?
यस सर।
क्या होता है हार्वेस्ट सीजन? व्हाट इज हार्वेस्ट सीजन?
When plants are when they grow, they are cut. When they are cut, then we say that they are harvested.
So, all right, this second lecture ends here with a lot of important and useful information. The next session is more important, which will discuss new things there. And therefore, by now we understand so many things. इसमें मेनली हमने क्या पढ़ा कि क्रॉप वैरायटी इंप्रूवमेंट कैसे करेंगे. मेन थिंग, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन. द की टेक अवे इज हाउ टू इंप्रूव द क्रॉप वैरायटी इंप्रूवमेंट एंड व्हाट इट मींस. तो हायर यील्ड और क्या पढ़ा, बायोटिक एंड एबायोटिक रेजिस्टेंसेस, change in maturity duration, wider adaptability, and desirable agronomic characteristics. Very important lecture was this. So these were the key takeaways, how to make crop variety improvement. And work is being done, and you can do more things as you think more. There, what else you can do? It is up to you and all the students to develop higher and better varieties of crops so that our production is boosted. Okay, then we will meet you in the next class with more interesting facts and more important things we will study. And we have answered few questions also in this, which are important for the exam. Okay, bye-bye. Then I see you next time.
Thank you, sir.
Our lectures are meant for students as well as parents. They must also listen to them, and there will be valuable information because they are being applied to our everyday life. हर एक ही प्लांटेशन अपने घर में कर रहा है, आप भी कर रहे हो, छोटे मोटे हर जगह डिफरेंट टाइप के प्लांट्स लगाते हो, इवन फ्रूट्स भी लगा रहे हो, वेजिटेबल्स भी लगा रहे हो, बहुत सारी चीजें अपने घर में भी लगा रहे हो. तो फिर आपके लिए अच्छा है, एक्सपेरिमेंट कर रहे हो पेरेंट्स के साथ तो करिए. और दिस इज गुड फॉर your family that you can grow a lot of things at home also. Home gardens आप बनाइए और ये सारी साइंस का यूज कीजिए. Okay, bye bye, then see you next time.
Thank you, sir.